The story of Solomon, David's son, begins in the early chapters of the first book of Kings and the second book of Chronicles in the Old Testament. Here's a summary of the early parts of Solomon's story. Solomon's rise to the throne. Solomon's path to kingship is marked by a period of tension. As David grows old, one of his other sons, Adonijah, attempts to take the throne for himself. Adonijah gathers support from some of David's key advisors, including Joab, the commander of the army, and Abiathar the priest. However, David had already chosen Solomon to be his successor, as he believed Solomon was God's choice to rule Israel. The prophet Nathan and Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, inform David of Adonijah's actions. David acts quickly to ensure Solomon's kingship, ordering Nathan and the priest Zadok to anoint Solomon publicly as king. They bring Solomon to Gihon Spring and anoint him there, with great celebration among the people. Adonijah realizes his plan has failed, and he initially submits to Solomon's rule, though he later conspires again and is eventually put to death. Solomon's dream and request for wisdom. One of the most famous parts of Solomon's early story is his prayer for wisdom. After securing his throne, Solomon offers sacrifices to God at Gibeon, where he has a remarkable encounter. In a dream, God appears to Solomon and tells him, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." 1 Kings 3 verse 5. Instead of asking for wealth, power, or long life, Solomon humbly asks God for wisdom. "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong." Solomon's request pleases God, who grants him a wise and discerning heart, promising that no one before or after him will be as wise. In addition, God blesses Solomon with riches and honor, making him renowned among kings. Solomon's wisdom in action. Solomon's wisdom quickly becomes famous, and one of the first stories demonstrating it involves a difficult judgment. Two women come before him, each claiming to be the mother of a baby. They tell Solomon that one of them accidentally smothered her own baby during the night and then claimed the other woman's living child as her own. To reveal the truth, Solomon orders that the baby be cut in half, with each woman receiving half of the child. One of the women immediately cries out, begging Solomon to spare the child's life and give him to the other woman instead. The other woman agrees to the division. Solomon then declares that the woman who showed compassion is the true mother, and he awards her the baby. This act of wisdom astonishes the people of Israel and establishes Solomon's reputation as a just and insightful ruler. Solomon's prosperity and fame. Under Solomon's rule, Israel experiences unprecedented prosperity, peace, and stability. Solomon forms alliances with surrounding nations, notably marrying the daughter of the Egyptian pharaoh, which strengthens Israel's political position. The peace during Solomon's reign allows him to focus on significant building projects, expanding Israel's infrastructure, wealth, and cultural influence. Solomon's wisdom attracts visitors and dignitaries from many lands, including the Queen of Sheba. She travels to Jerusalem to see if Solomon's wisdom and wealth are as impressive as she has heard. After testing him with hard questions and observing his wealth and the order of his court, she is amazed and praises both Solomon and the God of Israel. Building the temple. One of Solomon's greatest achievements is the construction of the temple in Jerusalem, fulfilling his father David's dream to create a permanent house for God. Solomon works with King Hiram of Tyre to procure the finest materials, including cedar from Lebanon, and he employs thousands of skilled laborers and craftsmen for the task. The construction of the temple takes 7 years, and it becomes the central place of worship for Israel. When the temple is completed, Solomon dedicates it with a grand ceremony, offering sacrifices and leading the people in prayer. During the dedication, Solomon prays that God will hear the prayers of his people and forgive them when they turn back to him, asking God to make his name dwell in the temple. Afterward, God appears to Solomon again, promising that he will keep his presence in the temple as long as Solomon and the people remain faithful. Solomon's wealth and achievements. Solomon's kingdom continues to flourish, becoming a center of wealth and culture. Solomon builds a magnificent royal palace, as well as other public works and fortifications throughout Israel. He establishes a powerful trading network, builds a fleet of ships, and engages in commerce with other nations, increasing Israel's wealth. The Bible describes Solomon's wealth and luxury in great detail. He accumulates vast amounts of gold and silver, his throne is adorned with ivory and gold, and his court is renowned for its splendor. Solomon's reign is often considered Israel's golden age, with the nation reaching the peak of its territorial and economic influence. Solomon's writings. In addition to his wisdom as a ruler, Solomon is traditionally credited with writing much of Israel's wisdom literature. He is said to have written many of the Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, which explore themes of wisdom, life, and the fear of the Lord. The Song of Solomon, or Song of Songs, is also attributed to him, a poetic book celebrating love. These early years of Solomon's reign show him as a wise and faithful ruler, blessed by God and admired by the world. However, Solomon's story later takes a darker turn as he grows older and is led astray by foreign influences, marking a transition in his legacy and a cautionary tale about the dangers of losing focus on God.